I think they see it as an interesting case, but it's not usual that researchers as Miren and Orkestra are now involved in Gipuzkoa Sarean. This is a much deeper involvement within politics than is usual. So I think they see this as an interesting case, but I think they also perceive that this is difficult to do in Norway, because in Norway you have more bureaucrats, the people in the administration that is working so closely with the politicians. So we have another context, another culture for collaboration. So I think the experience here in Gipuzkoa is quite unique actually. I think it's a very good project because, as you said, it has been going on for many years. It is developed in different stages and it's based on trust and very close collaboration with the politicians, and especially since there have been change in the political system, and despite that change the project has continued and has been more and more involved against change processes within the province. And that is the interesting thing, because change takes time. So I think that is the most interesting thing, that they're working with change process on a long-term process, on a long-term schedule, and now you can starting to see the change within the provincial council, but also in the province. That things are changing. You are not only changing the discourse, but actually also changing the behavior of people and also the behavior of the organization, and you are working towards what we would call institutional change. I think the most challenging way is to show people that action research is a very specific research strategy. It is not about delivering answers to the province and to the politicians. It is that the politicians themselves and the researchers and actors from the province must engage in a participative process. And that takes time to build this trust. And actually not only building trust in the relationship, but also building trust in action research as a research strategy for change. And that takes time, and now in these 6 years we see that this is actually starting to function. You must be aware of some principles, that you are not going to force the participants what you think is your opinion. The whole point with action research is that the solution should be co-generated between the participants, and that means that the researcher must not force his meaning, his opinion on the other participants. And then there's one line you must be clear that you must not try to manipulate the actors. It's very easy because you have a lot of knowledge about something, and you must avoid manipulating. And the whole point is to co-generate solutions which you can then take to actions and which you then afterwards can reflect on. And that is an action research cycle. The whole time reflecting, doing action, coming back to reflection and saying what do we learn from this and how can we proceed in this. How difficult and how long time it actually takes to build trust for real change. I know it theoretically, but you see, now in practice you see that it takes time. And I think what I've learned here is that you need to have meetings very often. I know that they meet every week, 2 hours for discussion about what will happen, what to do, and I think that is important. And part of the success story here is that they meet so regularly. And they discuss and they continue the discussion. I think that is very important in an action research process, because if you just meet some times a year in a process, you need to catch up from what happened in the previous meeting. But if you're meeting regularly each week, it's much easier to keep a discussion ongoing. And that must not be underestimated.